Hello and welcome to the Manchester's Blue Show, and tonight we have an unpopular opinion. Gundogan will go down as a City legend, true or false? Tonight I've got Josh with me, who is actually a fan of the show, and written to me basically telling me Gundogan is shit. So I thought I'd get him on for the chat tonight. And then we've got Tomy Young, who also thinks Gundogan is shit. So, right then, boys. Do you want me to start, or do you want to tell me why you're good enough for this City team?
I'll just start by saying I don't think I'm at the same level of hatred, if you can put it that way, as Josh. I wouldn't say Gundogan's shit. I wouldn't say he's shit. I think that he's a good central midfielder, but I think his skill set is very limited. And I think compared to other central midfielders that we have at the club and other players who we could potentially have coming through the academy ranks, I would much sooner see other players playing for the first team and starting games over Gundogan. I don't think Gundogan's necessarily a bad football player. I just don't think he is at the level of the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, these sorts of players. That's my opening line, shall we say.
Josh, do you want to agree with that? That's what I said in that message. I just don't think he's there first team quality wise. Like, you've got to think of, like, if he plays in a defensive role, like Pep sometimes puts in there, you've got Rodri and you've got Fernandinho who can play there. And then if you play him as an attacking role, you've got David Silva, Phil Foden, KDB. I just don't think I think he kind of just floats about the team, and I just don't think we need that really.
I mean, who? Obviously, you just mentioned Rodri in that then, and then Tom, you were on about players coming through who you think should go over him. Who are you meaning? Tommy Doyle?
I mean, just like Josh has just said. Then I think he's good at what he does, and talking about Gundogan. Sorry, Gundogan's good at being a player who is versatile. I'll give him that. He's versatile. He can do the defensive role okay. He can do the attacking role okay. I just don't think he's great at anything. He's very good at passing the ball from side to side, but who in Man City's side is not good at passing the ball from side to side? So, yeah, the likes of Tommy Doyle, the likes of Phil Foden, these are the sorts of players who, especially in the current climate and the fact we've got lots of games coming in a short period of time, the league does not matter in the slightest anymore. At the moment, I just don't see the point really in halting the progression of these players who should be getting first-team look-ins towards the back end of the season, in my opinion, over playing Gundogan, who, like I say, is good as he's good to come off the bench in terms of he is versatile, like I say, and he can come on pretty much wherever Pep needs him in that midfield. I just don't think he's particularly great in any of those positions. So yeah, like you say there, the likes of Tommy Doyle and Phil Foden, I think for me, I'd have higher in the pecking order currently than I would do Ilkay Gundogan.
Right. Would you say that if we want in the situation we are now, just so I can clarify? So if the season wasn't over, would you still be wanting Gundogan out of the team, or is it just purely because the league's over?
I think the current situation is more beneficial to the progression of the youngsters, as it is for every club, in the fact that every club that doesn't have a lot to play for, in the fact we've got a lot of games and we've got these extra subs. I think, don't get me wrong, Gundogan's had some really good performances at Man City. He always performs well against United, which is quality. He loves a goal against United. And
saying that, he lost twice to him this season, playing 90 minutes, so that was going to be my only slag.
To be fair, I don't know what's going on with United this season. I don't understand how we've lost to him so many times, but that's for a different day. I think, going to your earlier point, I think if we were in a different situation and say us and Liverpool were 2 or 3 points apart, yes, I'd probably have Gundogan higher up than the likes of Doyle and Foden in terms of he's got that experience, he's got the know-how, he's won titles here, he's won titles in Germany. He is a winner. And if we were in a different situation in the league, in terms of if we were still pushing for the league, or we had to fight for top 4, or there was something to play for, then yeah, I'd probably have Gundogan higher than the likes of Doyle, Foden, these sorts of players. But at the moment, I just don't see the need for Gundogan to play many minutes, if I'm honest with you. I just don't see why we would, like I say, be halting the progression of these youngsters in favour of bringing Gundogan off the bench for for 20, 25 minutes. Then 20, 25 minutes are far more beneficial for Tommy Doyle than they are for Gundogan.
And how do you feel about that, Josh? Are you in agreeing with Tom, or?
I just don't think he should be on the team sheet. I'd be perfectly happy if we sold Gundogan come end of the season, or even come end of the season. Once David Silva obviously moves on, we have Phil Foden up front with KDB, and I really want Ndida instead of Gundogan.
From Leicester?
Yeah, from Leicester.
Yeah, he's a good player. Good player. Yeah, but
I think Ndidi's great at what he does, and I think that Gundogan is just good at what he does, and that's what I think sets him apart from the others.
See, what I'm surprised neither of you said, because I hear this from a lot of City fans, that he's got no grit and he's got no backbone. He's just a boring player, right? But this season, City's been below par, and I get Gundogan's got a bit of stick because he's played 90 minutes in every game we've lost, right? But so's Edison. Do you know what I mean? You can't just pin it all on Gundogan. Anyway, so in the last 15 games of last season, the key 15 games that won us the league, Gundogan didn't play one game in that fifth. Well, he didn't play two, but the one game we lost against Newcastle, Gundogan didn't feature. He played 90 minutes on enough every other game, bar the Cardiff away. And we're talking about games against Chelsea, Spurs, the Leicester game, Burnley away, United away. That is saying something for the player that everybody thinks is a bit bang average, isn't it? That has got to be one defence for him.
Do you think that's all him, though?
No, I'm not saying it is all him, but he's bringing something to that team, reassurance maybe. Do you know what I mean?
You say about him being a boring player, and he is a pretty boring player. Like I say, he's probably the best player on the team in terms of passing the ball 10 yards to his left or 10 yards to his right. But that is the kind of player that every team needs.
Yeah.
I probably sound like I'm contradicting myself a bit in the fact that I'm saying that, but I'm speaking specifically looking at this season. The remainder of this season. In terms of in the squad, I do think he's an important player in terms of because he can do that role of coming on and doing pretty much anything, like I said earlier, in the midfield if he's required. Or when he starts, I mean, Pep does like, and I say all this, he'll probably start tomorrow because Pep does like to play Gundogan in these games against the bigger teams because he is that boring player who will just keep the possession ticking. I don't think he's a great player in terms of when we're playing against the lesser clubs because I don't think he's got that vision to pick out that intricate pass that the likes of De Bruyne, David Silva do. I don't see Gundogan very often pinging a ball 30 yards across the field to find Sterling running in behind. But then against the likes of Liverpool, when you're just going to be trying to hold the ball for long periods of time and just stop Liverpool having the ball, he's good for those sorts of games. And I do think that if we get past Real Madrid and get to the last stage of the Champions League, I do think he has a role to play when the time comes when we have got those important games on the cards. But going back to what I've already said a couple of times, I just don't think for the rest of the Premier League season that Gundogan is important enough, or I don't think he has any sort of standout qualities where it's like, right, we want you to be playing alongside the kids. I just think he's one of the players who, for me, can have a rest for the rest of the season and play the kids in his place.
See, I just want to jump in on a couple of things there. I'll start with one. What I see in Gundogan, and yeah, he does. He is a pass to the side master, like you say. But what I like about Gundogan, he's not just sat deep and waiting for a pass from defence to pass it left and right. He is he is round the box. He is out on he is out towards the wings, and he's always happy to receive the ball. Now that is a trait that goes unnoticed. If he's got two men around him, he's still happy to receive the ball, and he just 1-2 quick pass. It's tick-attacker at its basic, and that is why Pep plays him. That tick-attacker, just keeping the ball moving. It's boring, but that is what the team needs. When you're exactly. When you watch him against Newcastle, he had a very good game, and that's why I chose to do the show about him today, because like some people hate him, I like him. Now, yeah, he didn't do the killer pass. We've got David Silva on left, Kevin De Bruyne on right, and and Gundogan's just there when they can't make a break. Oh, pass it to me. I'll pass it to it. That is what we need in that team. Now, going on to bringing you through. Yeah, I'm up for that, Tom. And if I'm honest, I'd absolutely risk a load of youth players coming through in this. Not just at the sake of Gundogan, but just sake of anybody. But Gundogan's 29 now. I'm sure he's 29. And he's an older player. Now, don't you think having Gundogan to come on, like next season, even the season after, when we are blooding Tommy Doyle more, we have got a young Phil Foden, maybe Felix Nemecha breaks through to the team. Having a senior Gundogan coming on, just slowing the game down a bit, sort of like Patrick Vieira did when we won FA Cup. Do you not think that'd be a bonus for our squad to keep him?
Yeah, 100%. But this is what I mean in terms of if we were fighting for something this season, that's why I'd have him in the side if we were fighting for something, in the fact that we're 1-0 up against, let's say hypothetically tomorrow we need to beat Liverpool to go level on points and we're 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go. There's no better player to bring on in central midfield than Gundogan because of the way he does slow the game down and just regains that composure in midfield. But like I say, with the fact that this season doesn't matter now, we don't need a player on the bench for the rest of this season to do that job. Looking into the future, like you say, when Gundogan, I'd keep Gundogan at the club. I wouldn't sell Gundogan. For that specific reason of the fact that he is so good at doing that. He is good at, because he's the Guardiola central midfielder. There's not many other managers, I should say, in European football who would have Gundogan in the starting 11 or near the starting 11 at the top level of European football. But what he does well is exactly what Guardiola wants from his holding midfielders or his central midfielders. So yeah, I completely agree with you in the fact that looking further down the line, with the likes of Tommy Doyle coming through, Nemecha, Foden, the likes of Braff and just any youngster on the pitch, he will hopefully be that man who can come on and just steady the ship in those games where we need someone to do that. If you're talking about him being a starting central midfielder for the next couple of seasons, I don't think he will be, and I don't think he should be. I don't think he's, like I've said, I don't think he's good enough at anything in particular, apart from in those games against the bigger clubs where you need someone to just to man the fort, per se, that's not a defensive midfielder. I don't see that he'll be a starting midfielder from next season onwards. If he's happy to play a bit part role and know that his job is to come on with 20 minutes to go and steady the ship, then I'd 100% keep him at the club, but I wouldn't keep him as a starting midfielder.
Yeah, but I'll ask you this, Josh. Don't you think, to say he's a World Cup winner, played in Champions League final, won stuff at Dortmund, won stuff at City, even now he's happy to be a bit part player? Would you not agree? You can never hear him in paper moaning about not starting, or do you know what do you think? I think he's a bit like James Milner, but not as versatile or as good. Do you get what I mean? He's happy to be on the bench.
I think that he's not complaining because I think he thinks he's very lucky that he is starting, just as Tom said a minute ago about no other manager in the world putting him in the starting 11. But if you think about it at City, if we didn't have a centre-back issue and if Fernandinho didn't have to play centre-back, would Gundogan even be in with a chance to get in the starting 11 with Fernandinho and Rodri in front of him?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say that, right? I think this season, Gundogan's been exposed because he isn't the defensive midfielder of the standard of Fernandinho and Rodri. Now, I think that's a harsh criticism, because I think Fernandinho's the best in the biz when it comes to doing what he does. So he's never going to be that standard. And Rodri, I think we signed Rodri, one, to be a decent player, but it's not how City do it. Pep does it. Pep signs them and bloods them in slowly. He did it with Bernardo, Sané, fuck Sané anyway. He did it with, Bernardo, Sané, Mahrez. And I think Rodri just had a lot of pressure on him to get, you know what I mean, to finish the season. But I'm sure Gundogan played defensive midfielder most of the end of last season. I remember, because he hadn't signed his contract extension. I remember doing this and saying, if he don't sign a contract extension, I'll be absolutely gutted. So we've had a poor back four this season, and we've had Gundogan, who's like you say, we don't know what his position actually is. Play defensive midfielder, which has exposed him as a weakness for a defensive midfielder. But obviously, Pep didn't want to risk Rodri getting all the fire, maybe. So I don't know.
Yeah, true.
I think any defensive midfielder, I think Rodri's had a bit of unfair criticism at times this season on the fact that if Laporte was fit for the full season, and if we'd have gone out and invested properly in a centre-half in the summer, or if we'd have had Stones fit, maybe playing better than he does, or Otamendi playing all right, like Fernandinho's had over the years with company next to Laporte or company next to whoever, I think if we'd have had a normal back four this season, I think Rodri would have excelled more than he has done. And that's the same comment for Gundogan in the fact that when he has had to play that six role, and I don't like Gundogan as a six because, like we said, he doesn't have those defensive capabilities that Rodri has. Or he's not as good as a holding midfielder as Fernandinho is. But when he has had to play six, as Rodri usually does, he has obviously had a tougher task on his hands in the fact that we are making more mistakes at the back, and teams, because Fernandinho is having to play centre-half, teams are getting more involved, and teams are getting further upfield than they usually would do without Fernandinho there to break the attacks down. So I do think in terms of a defence for Gundogan and for Rodri, they have struggled more than they usually would because of the defensive issues. But I just don't like Gundogan as a six. When I see a team sheet and I see Gundogan sitting in front of the back four, I don't have that same belief that I do when I see Rodri sitting there or Fernandinho sitting there. So going back to what I've said about 10 times, I like him as a utility player. I like him as coming on as someone to slow the game down or to do that side-to-side role that he does. But I don't like him as a starting player. I don't like him as a name that's on the team, on that starting 11 when I see the team sheet on a match day.
But you would be if it was we've already qualified for Champions League. You'd be like, yeah, this is the game for Gundogan. Blood some fringe players in. You got Gundogan in centre of midfield, bossing it. Well, I think you're saying no, George. No, but anyway, let's get to some stats. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of stats, but Gundogan played 157 games for Dortmund, and he's played exactly 157 games for City. Right? Who do you reckon he scored more goals for?
I reckon it's Dortmund.
Dortmund from the penalty spot, probably. Or City from the penalty spot. I don't know. Who gets more penalties?
Yeah, he scored 15 goals for Dortmund, and he scored 22 for City.
Oh, okay.
Go on then, assists. Who are we saying he's had more for?
You just presume he'd have more for City in the fact that we have so much of the ball and we score so many goals. I'd go with City on that front.
I think Dortmund had Lewandowski and Royce in front of him. I think maybe he had more assists with Dortmund.
No, he had 20 assists for Dortmund and 22 for City.
Ooh,
now, it's not massive numbers in terms of appearances, and but he's 2 games off 100 Premier League appearances. That isn't a bad record for what I've always seen as, like you said, Tom, a utility player.
Yeah, it's not a bad record at all, but that, like I've said earlier, it's not what he's there to do. He's not there to score goals and he's not there to get assists because we've got De Bruyne, we've got David Silva, we've got other players who pick up assists, and then I could spend all night talking about our attacking options in terms of scoring goals, but it's not what he's there to do. To average a goal, how many appearances, sorry, 147?
I think it's a goal every 4 games, isn't it?
So it's a goal or an assist every 5 or 6 games, 6 or 7 games in total, which isn't great in terms of when you think of a midfielder for City, but I'd like to see his minutes per game ratio there and his number of substitute appearances and stuff. It's not a bad record. But it's not his role. I don't think Pep puts him in the side to go, right, Gundogan, I want you to go and get 2 assists today, or I want you to go and score a goal. He goes, you're there just to keep the possession flowing, and that is what he does that job well. As I keep saying, I just don't think he's good enough to be a starting player at Man City. But what he does do well.
I think what Pep's trying to get Gundogan to do is what David Silva's been doing for years, and that's controlling the tempo of the game. And I think that's what I kind of asked him to do, because I think David Silva's getting quite old now, so he can't really do that as much as he'd like to. So I think he's giving David Silva a bit of a free roll and trying telling Gundogan to try and maybe do that.
Poor old fucking David when at Newcastle when he was through. Well, there were loads of space in front of him. You could just tell he wasn't chasing into that. His legs had proper gone, bless him. But so yeah. I think we've pretty much covered him there. My Ike. In my eyes, I think he's good. He's got to go down as a legend. Maybe not. He's got to go down as maybe, I don't know. How would you call it?
I won't call him a legend. I won't call him a legend. I think if you ask me in 20, 30, 40 years' time when my grandkids ask me about this City side, there is not a chance that Gundogan's going to be one of the first names coming to my brain. And I think if you tell me that Gundogan's going to be one of the first names coming to your brain, then you're lying to yourself because he's not even near my top 10.
I am lying.
Let alone legend.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. Going back to what you said. No, go on, mate.
I'm going to say, scored a couple of decent goals against Barcelona, didn't he?
Yeah. Going back to what you said at the start when you said I thought he was shit. I don't think he's shit, but I definitely don't think he's a club legend.
Yeah, I don't think he's shit, but I don't think he's good.
He's just all right,
I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's good for City. I think he's a great player. I just don't think City and him just don't match for me.
I'll tell you what, then we'll wrap it up then as doing a bit of a what if. I mean, this is just like a sum up of the season, but there's a lot of things that hindered this City side. This is going off subject with Gundogan. This is just in general because a lot of people have been criticising Pep for his team selections and everything, but no, Pep definitely didn't think Laporte would get injured. He did not think he'd have to play Fernandinho centre back all season, and I think he never puts Fernandinho back in midfield because he didn't want him to think, "Yeah, you are shit at centre back. We are playing back in midfield." I think it was just a bit of like team boosting, moral building. So,
I think as a club, I think we should have signed him a centre back. I think we should have got rid of Otamendi or Stones before this season started, and we should have invested in like Koulibaly or somebody.
Should have got rid of Otamendi and Stones. Neither of them should be on the payroll at Man City anymore. But that's a debate for another day.
I'm not having that about Sir John. I like Stones. I just think
what are his insides made of though? Can someone tell me that? Because there is no way he's made of human stuff because he breaks far too often, and that's what's crushed him. Is the fact he gets injured so much. But there is no way we should be keeping him on the payroll when he gets injured so much. If he stayed fit, I think he'd be a great centre half. And I think when we first signed him, he looked like he was going to be a really good investment. But why are you? But
that was next to Company though. Company made everybody look good.
If my lamp breaks, I'm not going to keep it in my house because I like the lamp. I'm going to throw the lamp out and get a new one because that lamp's not doing what I paid for it to do. So why have we still got John Stones at the club? I just don't understand it.
Well, while we're touching on that, the whole centre-back issue, I mean, we've gone well off subject here, but okay. The whole centre-back issue. Now, is it a bad thing that if you have a world-class centre-back, it makes the other one look good? See, you look at Liverpool's side, they've got one world-class centre-back and the rest are absolutely... Well, Gomez is a decent player, but the rest are bang average.
I'd have Gomez at City, mate. I think Gomez is a really
I'd have Gomez at City. But is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing to have a decent... He's all right, but he's better next to a world-class centre-back?
I'd take world-class. A world-class and somebody who's excellent at what they do over a naff player.
Yeah, but...
You're not easily pleased, are you? I'd just take two world-class centre-halves. That'll do. Go on, then.
Yeah,
honestly,
but
I want that Koulibaly at City. All the rumours about him, I'm dying for him to come to City.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to edit that out in case he goes to Liverpool and we fucking get this video.
Fuck's sake.
No, I think if you do have two world-class centre-backs, your other two centre-backs are just thinking, well, I'm never getting in this team. I think if you've got one world-class one and then like three average ones, then there's a bit of competition in there. Do you know, that's how we've rolled last few seasons when we had Mangala and all that there, didn't we?
Oh,
I mean,
God, Mangala.
calling Mangala an average centre half is kind, isn't it? Although,
Yeah,
you know,
well,
shame
that's
about
what I mean.
Mangala, on his debut against Chelsea, he looked fucking mint. He looked really good. We
Oh,
drew
don't get me
1-1. He
started.
looked really good that game, and his City career peaked literally in his first 90 minutes, and then it was all downhill.
Yeah, he was first. We were first centre-back pairing to stop Diego Costa scoring that season.
Yeah,
wasn't
he looked really good that game, and I remember coming back from the game and going, "Oh, you know what? 42 million quid. We might have done all right there." And and then it all went downhill.
Oh, God.
Oh, fucking! We've gone from defending Gundogan to slagging Mangala off. But we're moving on to next.
Benjamin Mendy.
No, that's a whole different subject. I'm not getting started.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got enough time for that.
No, I'm not touching on Mendy. So I think we'll wrap it up there, boys. It's only a quick 20-odd minute one. So anyway, do you want to say your goodbyes, lads?
Yeah, nice one, bud.
Josh?
Been an enjoyable one.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Are you going to come on again, Josh?
Definitely. Whenever you want me to come on, I'll come on.
Yep, sound. So that's a goodbye from all the Blue lads. And please like and subscribe to our podcast, our YouTube, our Facebook. Comments or likes or shares you put really, really does go a long way. So can you please do that? See you later, Blues.